we are starting from the grassroots, empowerment in the middle, then
So,
technique to the apex. And how are we doing that one? One, we have identified, for instance, that apart from feeding our communities, local communities in Africa and the nation at large, the excess produce that our students that are going to be, transcend into cooperatives are going to feed the Western world as well. We live in Germany here, we've been all over Europe, and we found that there's what we call in German language bio food. Bio is like in English bio or organic food. That we have figured out that in Africa we don't even, talk about we just take it like, for instance, avocados for area to diaspora of Chile, which can be exported, imported in Germany from Kenya, 1 kg of fresh small chili costing 130 euros multiplied by 135 shillings, you know what it comes out, almost 750 shillings, quite a lot of money. In Kwacha tells where I come from, Zambia, that's about 800 kwacha. Quite a lot of money. So we said, look, instead of us crying over our mineral resources and everything that are being tapped by other foreign entities and we don't know where they are going, why can't we utilize the soils that we have? Because what I believe in, like an average family, 1 out of 10 families in Africa, they've got a piece of land somewhere. So let's go back to the land. Whether you are a medical doctor today, you are a bank and staff, you can join onto this project as a business. Let's work together. We teach you for 1 year, first 6 months, theoretical, mentally. Then the second half of the project, we put you in cooperatives. Okay? 100 students here, you are going to deal in such kind of a section. Another 100, another section. Then we give them pieces of land where they are going to work their dues and produce according to their cooperatives, and we register them in their respective governmental departments. What is the ultimate end? Is that the same students that we've been with, that we say we don't just give certificates and say, bye, no, you are going to be a working partner. Now you are learning, so they produce stuff for the African soil, and we find the market to come and distribute in Deutschland and Europe at large. And already we have done quite huge underground work, despite Corona and stuff, and a lot of supermarkets, mega supermarkets are waiting for the products from us, from our project. And we told them to say, look, normally when we walk around, if you fundraise for Africa, you find them put some tables, oh, we are fundraising for Africa. We don't want to have that. We want to give you our products, buy them, then we send back money to our beautiful continent of Africa that is giving us all the time the arms. You've been giving us the arms, funding, and such money. We don't see them. That's why poverty continues propagating. But when you give us the market that we are able to bring 100 tons of such products, you're going to buy from us. We know it's quite expensive here. We are going to continuously gain than waiting for that funding which comes after 5 years. No, there's a little boy, there's a little girl who's growing up. He has to find that my dad is involved in agribusiness between my country, Zambia, or my country, Kenya, Nigeria, and Germany and Europe. It is an ongoing thing. So it's not a one stand of thing. We start today, we huge our first product, we put our money, and we stay attached, and no, it is generational. We are investing this for our children's children. So this is a big project where and which we are even calling out siblings back out there in Africa who couldn't enter school, who couldn't enter university, college because of lack of funds and stuff. There's a project which is much more elaborate, much more richer than that banker you are seeing going to the fund, than even that medical doctor who is gaining an income from one stream. But when you jump onto this program, agribusiness and entrepreneurship, you are a complete person. You are feeding the communities, you are feeding the country. eventually you're going to become your own entrepreneur. That's why we blended on the entrepreneurship aspect. We know a lot of farmers back in Africa, they have been farming, but they haven't been going far away. Why? Because they lacked that blender entrepreneurship aspect. So you've got to know what you're doing. Even when you're producing to export on the part of international trade, nobody's going to cheat you out because you know the technical know-how. We've taught you everything. So this is a project that we are here to present, and we're doing so well. So far, we started, I think, a week ago. We started teaching agribusiness and entrepreneurship in Kenya, Zambia, Congo, Nigeria is coming through as well. Uganda is coming through in the next 2 weeks, and many other countries are buying into this project. It's not expensive to join. We are quite blunt and straightforward in whatever we do. We know life is, like I said, a pyramid. You are doing well, you are richer, you are going to pay us a little bit to run the project. The poor, the needy, the vulnerable, we are teaching them free of charge. All they've got to do is just a little bit of this, the application, what is called fee, like $5 a year. That's all, and you are on the program, and we connect you between your country and here. We train you in the next phase. When you arrive, it won't be Tricatania and DLI all the time moving in between you and your cooperative and Germany or Europe. No, you've got to do it yourself. That's the empowerment that we brought to Africa. And we thank so much the Center for African Volunteers for having ushered into Africa as well and cooperating with them. Also, we've got the Offer ACA NGO as well in Africa. The government has got into the system. Zimbabwean government, they are coming as well. Our director there, Mr. Samson, just gave us some good news yesterday or 2 days ago with the certificate which we were welcomed into Kenya as well. And we love that thing. If governments could support us,
thank you so much, Mr. Evans, for that elaborate presentation. Now, just a quick one. Thank you so much for that great presentation and opportunity that you're opening for young people in Africa to trade and work together with those in Europe by providing amazing opportunities that are otherwise left for people who are considered powerful or politically connected or economically, financially sound from Africa. This is a great thing because you've synthesized this and you're reaching down to every person from every village across this continent. Maybe just a quick question before I bring Ms. Diane Mose. Now, what is the extent of market availability for the agro-produce from Africa? And second to that, what would be your advice? Because in Africa, we've been taught and we've been told that farming is like a punishment and white-collar job is the in thing that people should be going for. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. I love those two questions, sir. Wonderful, wonderful. Pretty good. I'm going to start with the first one. What's the market availability? 100% market availability. I want to tell you something that when I talk about bio or foods, we call them, right, in terms of German here. These things are accessed by the upper class and the rich. Just like when you talk about just buying simple mangoes, which yesterday we were sweeping from the yard, Mr. Moses, you have to think twice to buy 1 kilo of mango in Germany. Let alone when you go to just across board here in Netherlands, you might go to pay like 5 times. I'm talking of 1 kilo of mangoes costing over 30 euros. That's quite a lot of money. Netherlands, you are talking of times 5. Come on, you've got to take advantage.
Yes.
You should be straight.
Exactly.
This is money waiting for us. Now, who are accessing the Africa? So what we have done as Africanians and GLI, we are going to what are called the low class. Because it looks so beautiful, low class level. That's
permanently.
And what are called open market. And we're going to bring these crops and food stuff from Africa. People are going to buy from here. And employees are going to access them. So, which simply means the market base is gigantic. People can't wait here. This is a situation whereby even we telling suppliers from Africa, when you get started, do not stop because the demand is just too high. That's one aspect. So that's not shooting people away. The second one, agriculture, the way it's been received in Africa. I remember the way I grew up myself. I'm an old timer, I look so young. Every Saturday, we went to the garden, and it was known because every household in Zambia had a garden. 2 hours walking far away. Everybody, there was nobody. That was not a village, but a township. And we had so much food at the end of the season. We couldn't buy maize, we couldn't buy groundnuts, we couldn't buy, mention anything that comes from the soils, let alone cabbage, which I buy through sweat here when I have to buy cabbage. Money is very expensive. So there was no hunger at that time in Zambia until things changed. Later on, we had the second president who said, okay, let's go to the US, we have to open the markets and everything. And the oils, the sachets were put down, and hunger slowly crippled in and promoted the white-collar jobs. I can tell you, these farms are there for sustenance, but nobody's touching them. If you carry a boy or you are telling somebody over the weekend, I'm going to go to the garden, they're going to have to fight you.
Thank you so much.
If you have a job,
thank you so much.
Why should you go there? So this is what we are trying to change now, sir.
Thank you so much. What is coming out?
Things are changing. People have to go back to the land.
Exactly. What is coming out from the conversation is number one, the prices of the agri-produce from Africa. Sometimes young people are shying away from moving into farming because there is that lack of efficient market. And here, Mr. Evans Lukomona is assuring us that there is absolutely enough market for us to venture into as young people from the continent. Quickly, let me dash to Ms. Diane Mose. In most instances, we use fertilizer and pesticides in our farms that sometimes render our agricultural produce not fit for consumption, for human consumption, and cannot meet the international standards. The ripple effect of that is that the agricultural produce that are produced from Africa cannot be shipped or cannot be sold into other external markets. Ms. Diane Moses, what solution are you coming up with, being that you are the sole distributor of Symbiosis AGX? Ms. Diane, over to you. Do we still have Ms. Diane in the room?
I'm sorry. I got it. So you want to know what my plan is to get it over to Africa?
My question is...
was that the question?
Let me rephrase the question. Mr. Lukomona has told us that the agricultural produce from Africa get their way into the European markets. One of the greatest disadvantages that farmers are experiencing is the use of chemical fertilizers and harmful pesticides that are not fit for human consumption. You, as the sole distributor of Symbiosis AGX, what solution is Symbiosis AGX providing to plants and crops that should be moving into other markets so that the agro produce can be acceptable globally?
Well, the whole purpose of what I got into this product in the beginning was to heal the earth. And knowing what it does and what it can create is earth-changing. For instance, when you use chemicals, pesticide, herbicides, anything that's petroleum-based, those minerals and nutrients hide. That's their defense mechanism. Like a fire, flood, or freeze. But if the fire, flood, or freeze comes, they dive deep, but they come back, right? After the fire, flood, or freeze is gone. But on chemicals that everyone uses worldwide, the nutrients and minerals run deep, and the chemicals are sprayed week after week after week after week after week, the whole cycle of the crop. Therefore, the nutrients and minerals are still deep. They haven't come back, which means the vegetables have no nutrients. We have to get supplements in our diet because we don't get enough from the earth. So our product, Symbiosis AGX, is a biostimulator made. There's 9 biostimulants in it. You could buy different all in one, and when you apply it, I could do a test on your farm, and I could show you the test results for the nutrients and minerals within 30 to 45 minutes. And why it's working is because as soon as it hits the soil, well, actually it's a foliar spray, so you're going to spray the leaves. Once it hits those leaves, in 20 minutes it's into the ground. The nutrients and minerals, they have a symbiotic relationship. Everything in the soil have symbiotic relationships. That means 2 things come together to make something else. Right? We have to survive together in order for something else to find it. So once it hits the soil, the nutrients and minerals come right back to the surface, and you can measure it. And how you measure it is with one of these. Wow. Can you guys hear me? That's a refractometer. You go to a farm and you test their soil and you test their produce, whether it's corn, whether it's tomato. You can test the nutrients and minerals in it. It's a given number. It's in Farmer's Almanac. You look it up. You can Google it. Like a tomato should be a 12. So you go to a tomato farmer and you poke it, the juice on that little machine I just showed you, and you can measure it right in front of the farmer. And it'll be a 6 or a 7, which means it's half the flavor, half the size, half the yields. If it's half the yields, and I spray 5 minutes later, it will be an 8 or 9. It's that fast. Some that have been saturated with Roundup and the like might take a whole season. Some that hardly use it or are good farm managers, it might be overnight. I mean, it could go in between. But the yields, the pictures, I'd be more than happy to share with anyone.
Wow.
The studies I have, it's actually being used in the only FDA-approved greenhouse in the country. And this biostimulant is being used in a greenhouse to push the nutrient levels, which is what our product does, push them so far that it changes the recommended daily allowance in our fruits and vegetables that we need every day. So instead of the plants not having the nutrients and minerals, and we have to give you a supplement in a prescription, Blue Cross Blue Shield has decided to back this project to push the recommended daily allowances, and instead of giving out a pharmaceutical prescription, they're going to give out a food prescription, like you need a quarter cup of spinach, 2 ounces of carrot. They're going to give you that prescription instead of a pharmaceutical prescription. That is gigantic.
Thank you.
So we're very proud of Symbiosis AGM.
Yes.
When we talk about education, educating our children about agriculture, no one can take that away from them. Generation after generation. They might take your house, they might take your car, but they can never take your education away. We want as many educational projects out there to participate, like we're on here today. Everybody participate, educating about our soil. Our bodies mimic the soil. What the soil has, so do we. Where do we get it? We get our supplements from, we're supposed to get it from our vegetables, but we're getting it in supplements. So that speaks volumes about why we even have supplements. Let's fix that whole thing. And so for the education, we really want to have a program, and I've got several people who are interested. I'm always open to hear more about doing video, teaching children an educational program from the farmers themselves. The regenerative agriculture is the new thing. Organic is the new thing. Go back to basics. The way the earth was before humanity came. So what our product does is does just that. We bring the minerals and nutrients back to the crop. And once you do that, the bad weeds won't come in, the non-beneficial weeds. And when the non-beneficial weeds do come in, because your soil is off kilter, the bad weeds come in, suck up the rest, and then it drowns and it pretty much kills that plant. But before the plant dies, it sends off a signal to the pests to come eat it to make room for new growth. Okay? Now when that happens, the pests come, because they were called, and get out the pesticides. So it is a catch-22. So fix the soil, you won't get the non-beneficial weeds, which won't drown out, take out all the rest of the water and nutrients and minerals that are left.
Right.
And then the pests won't come, you won't need pesticides. So that's what we promise AGMs to do. We want everybody to know about it.
Thank you.
Because you talk about world hunger, we can help world hunger. Our product can anywhere I've seen as low as 10%, all the way up to 400% increase in yield.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Leon. Thank you so much, Leon, for that elaborate explanation. Now, what is from what Diane is saying is that we have to reclaim the soil to its original status as it was before we all came on earth. And she's saying that when the earth is healthy, then all of us will be healthy because 90% or 100% of that which we consume come from the ground. Diana has spoken that she is also dedicated in education.
I can't understand.
She's also said that she's dedicated into venturing into educating young people into farming, where DLI and Ambio Global now are meeting. Just before I bring in Mr. Giovanni, Mr. Giovanni has a solution for drought. He has the technology of capturing water from the atmosphere. But just before I bring him in, is Mr. Rogers Oenga in. Mr. Rogers Oenga is the Executive Director, Pillars Symbiosis AGX here in Kenya. Perhaps you take 2 minutes and tell us what you saw